have to upload your in-class notes. Okay, maybe you think, why we need to do that? But it matters when your overall final return. Then that's the point I should add up some extra point to you or not. Okay, so please still record. You don't need to record everything I said in class. 不必把每样我讲，但是 point. For example, I mentioned balance sheet. It covers its accumulation concept. You accumulate the whole in years or period since the company established. Okay, 资产负债表指的是一直累计的结果的数字，其他的报表 the other statements is only for the specific period. Okay, this is a very important concept that you should keep on your notes. Okay, the last one. Always, every chapter, now we have return on assets. Then this one is about the profit margin. Okay, for example, I remember many years ago, I was, asked from my friend who is running a pharmaceutical company in Malaysia. Then he asked me to do the financial analysis for them, this company. Okay, and then I later on find out, well, your company really not making good profit. Then why? Because I know your profit margin is really not good. But after I have further detailed analysis, I know the profit. Okay, so financial analysis is a course. 这是一门课 financial analysis. I hope later on you have a chance to take this class. Then it helps a lot to let you know what happened for this company. Okay, so one of the index is profit margin, and the formula is you have to use the net income, which means the final number after you deduct the expenses from your revenue, the final number with net income, and divided by net sales. Okay, be careful net sales. Why? What's the difference between the net sales and the sales? They're different. Later on for chapter 5, you will learn when you sell something. For example, I'm a furniture company. So I make sales. Okay, for example, this number. But when I sold out the furniture, it will be very possible your customer will return the furniture. Why? Probably it's not matched. The item does not, the condition does not match whenever they set up the purchase order, or they feel some scratch during the delivery, whatever reason. So you have to deduct sales return. Or you want to attract your customer. You say that if you can pay me within 10 days, I will give you 1% discount. Okay, some customers, they really prefer to do that. So we have sales discount. So they have about 2 or 3 items you have to deduct first. Then go to net sales. If I don't have the net sales, put on net, you will assume the beginning number, the grand sales. Okay, it's not. So here, for the beginning, they would, for the test purpose, they will just let you know the net sales. But later on, when you're moving to chapter 5 for merchandising, the chapter, then you have to watch. You have to deduct, the related account first in order to go to the net sales. Okay, 这里的叫做净销货。好，净销货有可能是销货退回，不管是货品的瑕疵，或者你跟你的规格不符。OK， 然后呢，人家给你一些销货的诱因哈，销货折扣，这些都是在第5章的时候你在学的时候，当你看到这个 index， 你必须要先去扣掉。那现在我们这个 in chapter 3 they will not give you the information here. They will just directly give you the net sales number, but you should know, sales and net sales are different. OK， 所以净销货跟销货是不一样的。OK，but net income is the final number of your income statement。OK， 所以这边叫做边际利益。OK， 你赚了100块钱，假设你这家公司的财务报表是最后20块钱，好，本期净利20块钱，但是呢，你最初的销货收入哈就扣掉的是100块，表示呢你的100块钱销货你赚了20块钱。OK，so which means the higher the better。OK， 表示你赚的东西没有白做。假设 for example you have $100 net sales。But in order to make that much money, you have to spend lots of money. For example, the company I did the analysis, that company, in order to get into the Malaysia market, they spend so much money for commission. Do you notice that when you walk into the hospital, you are stay in the waiting room? Have you ever noticed that some people wearing the suits and the case and sitting there did nothing, just sitting there till the end when the doctor walked out and he followed up. That's a sales from the pharmaceutical company. They try to sell the medicine, let the doctor agree to use their brand. Then normally they have a deal. If you can use my company's certain medicine, I give you some certain commission. Okay, so that's why when I analyzed that company, I found because they sold medicine to different countries like Singapore, Philippines, Vietnam, Indonesia, and of course in Malaysia. And I found out, among all the commission they spend pretty much money in Philippine section, which means they try to get into the market, but actually it's not effective. Okay, so you should know. You make that much money, actually you spend a lot. Then finally you only make net profit a small amount. It's not worth it. You have to think about the strategy for your next step. OK， 有的时候你赚了一笔钱，结果你花了一堆没有必要的钱，好，那真是白做工嘛，对，白做工。所以做这个 profit analysis is very important. Then you make a very good profit, or actually looks like you have big sales. Actually, you did nothing help for the company. Okay, so the formula for profit margin is net income divided by the net sales. Okay, so I think that's the end for this one. Then we'll go to the in-class quiz. Please log in. I haven't get into Trump class. Completing the accounting cycle. So when you see the word completing, I hope you will feel happy. Finally, it's a kind of the period stage will be done. Get it done. Okay. So accounting cycle means if you are accountant and you do the similar things, for example, monthly by monthly. Okay, repeat and repeat and repeat. So why some people don't like to be an accountant? It's so boring because you are repeating the same thing within the accounting cycle. So, but another thing for who is not majored in accounting, once you know the accounting cycle, then you know the concept about what the accountants are doing. Okay, that's a good thing for non-accounting student. Okay, then chapter 4, we're moving to complete the whole cycle. But actually, I don't think we should will spend that much time because most of things we have done already. The only thing is about closing process. Okay, how to close the account and why we need to close the account. Okay, then this is the major part we're doing. So for the worksheet, I won't spend a couple minutes. I will spend only a couple minutes here. Worksheet. What is worksheet? We just mentioned from chapter 3. We have unadjusted TB, we have adjustment, we have adjusted TB, and we make financial statement for income statement and the balance sheet. Actually, that's what a worksheet is. Actually, we have already completed worksheet. Okay, same thing. Okay, why you need a worksheet? Because you can see the overview the transaction from it, and for how complicated the account for this company. So worksheet, the good things that for example, we just grab the information from worksheet to make the income statement and the balance sheet. So it aids the preparation for financial statement. I think that's a major purpose, okay? And from worksheet, you see the total debit and equals to total credit. So if there's some mistake for the numbers, then easily to detect, okay? And actually for what is the assist, the right one, the first top one, assist in planning and organizing an audit. What is audit? Audit means once we learn the all knowledge for financial accounting, for cost accounting, whatever. So later on, when you graduate, then you probably will apply the job in the Big Four. And what you are doing for Big Four, because you will be assigned to audit the different companies' financial statement, whether they are applying to IFRS or not. Okay. Normally, for you, if you are hired by a big listed company, then the total auditing time probably will take like 10 months. Each team, for example, in Taiwan's a very famous Sogo department store, 知道吧？广山 Sogo department store. When I was in CPA firm, the team covers 10 members. So I'm joining the team. We spend 4 months staying in Sogo department store to find all the whether there's any fraud, mistakes, or intention errors, something like that. When the team complete the auditing, then they can issue the report for the auditing report, telling all the users you can trust the quality of this company financial statement. So if you are a listed company, then you are required, when you are issuing the financial statement, then it has to attach with the auditor's report. Okay, that's the audit job. So normally in the class, so like me, I'm teaching auditing for the last year, the junior year for the accounting of my department, and I also teach the principal accounting in this class. And we take 2 courses. One is very basic, and one is the auditing course. Okay, normally auditing course is need a lot of practical examples. So that's why when you are taking the CPA exam, the most difficult part is the auditing subject. Okay. Anyway, so why is the worksheet? Why is related to audit? Because the first document you require by the company is the worksheet. So once the auditor receives the worksheet, then from the complication of the account and from the overview, from the income statement, from the balance sheet, then it's easier for the auditor to plan their audit procedures. Okay, so this is the first document they require by the auditor to the company. So it's also the benefit to prepare the worksheet. Okay, and also something I think it's okay to it's all about. Okay, but since we know there are several benefits when you are preparing the company, preparing the worksheet. However, it's important, it's not required report. If this company say that, my company's accounting information system are well established, I don't think whatever information you want, I can just pull the information to you. Probably it's not a required document for my company. It's okay, but we encourage the company will prepare worksheet, especially for the auditing purpose. And since it's not required, okay, then you cannot substitute the worksheet, okay, instead of making in terms of making a financial statement, which means you are saying, okay, my company, we set up the worksheet already. So whatever the income statement information or balance sheet information, please just go directly to review from refer to the worksheet. No, it's not allowed. Okay, financial statement, they are the formal statement required by SEC or the government segment that are required to disclose to the public. But for the listed company, besides the financial statement, they needed have also attach the auditor report in order to confirm the quality of the financial statement. OK， 财务报表哈，不能够因为你公司有工作底稿，你就说我就不提，你就自己去找资料吧，好，我就把这个提供给你，不可以，它不能够替代正式的财务报表。OK， 那所有的上市公司，我们称之为叫 listed company， 有些人叫做 listing company， 两个都可以。listed company 或 listing company， 上市公司是被所有像我们台湾的金管会啊，美国的证券交易会哈，都被规范，在你要提供年度财务报表时，一定要附审计报告，好，一定要审计报告确认你的财务报表是可信的资料。OK， 所以为什么审计 CPA 可以赚这么多钱？因为 the auditing fee for each most of listing company will ask for couple $1 million Taiwan dollars， 这多贵啊！像我举个例子 ，for example in Taiwan, very big four listed company, their auditing fee 就是审计报告的钱 ，OK 要 charge $8 million 800万。Some company will charge for like 1.5 million 1500万都有，所以你想想看，哇，那这些会计师公司真的赚翻了。你觉得这么好赚吗？相对风险很高。OK， 做审计报告，如果该发现这家公司有舞弊，你没发现出来，就到被人家那个所有投资人发现，你害他投资损失就被告得很惨。OK， 所以这是我们专业为什么要做会计师？因为你要做 auditing 的这个工作，这样子，这个就赚很多钱。OK。Alright, then we'll see very easily and quickly, okay, to the 5 steps. Okay, actually we have already mentioned in chapter 3. So, based on the step 1, you are making the unadjusted TB, okay, and confirm the number from each account number from asset, liability, equity, revenue, and expenses. And then you post to the right position for debit and credit, and then make sure the total number are equal. Then you make adjustment based on your adjusting entry using the pair number, 一对一对的 number, and put on the right place and right spot and verify the balance. Then after that, okay, then you add it up from the left to the middle and make it to the adjusted TB. Okay. Also the same information should be balanced. Then from the adjusted trial balance, you go to make the income statement we just mentioned. Okay, the only thing we haven't mentioned from chapter 3 is here. Okay, so far you get a number from here, you put whatever the debit and whatever the credit, then you will go to here only. Okay? But you will feel, how come the number is not equal? Of course it's not equal. Because for the income statement, whatever from the credit is from the revenue. Whatever is showing on the debit is about the expenses. If you have made a profit, then you have the balance should be, the credit should be larger than the debit, right? If you are making a loss, then of course your debit should be larger than the credit. Then how to make it they are finally equal? Because the difference, we call that net income. Net income. So, but this part we'll explain later. But so far they are all about the 90% or net more percent are the similar with the one we mentioned in chapter 3. See the difference here? From here, area student. If you get all the information pulling up here, moving to here, moving to here, and actually the total numbers should not be equal, right? Of course they should not be equal, because if you are making money, profit, this one should be larger than this one, because credit is all related to revenue. Okay, if you have something credit larger than debit, credit, then which means you are making loss. But how do you finally make them equal? Then that's the one we are talking about. Okay, but major part here is all the same about chapter 3. Okay, then based on the information, okay, so again, everyone should know the relationship between among the 4 statements. Start from the income statement, then you using the net income, moving to the changes of equity. Once you have the ending number for your equity, then you can make the balance sheet. Okay, again, and the 4th one we are not teaching here is about the statement of the cash flow. Okay, to verify, to know the elements of the cash. Okay, all right. So this is all about the chapter 3 we have talked. But now we are concentrating the final step. We call that closing process. Why we need to close? Close what? Remember, for the 4 statements, the 4th statement, only the balance sheet number has to be accumulated. And the other 3, they are temporary account. Why we say temporary account? For example, here, if I'm making the income statement for December, which means whatever I put it here, the balance, like the cash, like accounts receivable, oh no, it's revenue, sorry. Consulting, revenue, or service, revenue, or the related salary or utility, something like that. All these numbers is only related to December. So if I'm going to January, all the numbers should be started from 0. If I don't let them reset to 0, then the January number will be tangled with December. So that's why whenever you have done with the specific period income statement, then you have to let them become 0. We call that reset. Okay, so going to January, everything should be starting from the first transaction related to January. Okay, 所以损益表讲的是某个特定期间的经营表现。好，12月已经讲完了，赚了多少，收入多少，费用多少，然后本期损益多少。那到了1月的时候，全部要重新开始计算，从1月1号开始计算。到底开始累计赚了多少收入？累计花了多少钱相关的会计科目，然后1月份最后本期损益多少 ？Okay, so that's why the last step we need to close the account only for income statement account. You don't close anything related to balance sheet because balance sheet account like asset, like liability, like equity, as long as they goes to balance sheet. They has to be accumulated. They will never be closed. OK， 资产负债表的科目永远不被关账。好，我们这边叫结账，有些人叫做关账。所以你有没有同学或者你的家里亲友说，哦，不要再找我，月底不要找我，我最忙，我们叫做关账或者叫结账，他们就在做这种事。OK， either 关账或结账都要 close. OK，so don't bother your friend. If they are working for being an accountant job, they will be crazy busy in the end of the period and in the beginning of the period because they have to close the account and they have to make the updated the financial statement. Okay, so don't bother them. They are not trying to ignore you because they are really busy. 他们没有故意要不理你，事实上他们真的很忙。好，会计人的最忙的季节 at the end of the the period. Okay, so closing process we are saying the reset 就是变成回归到零的意思。You have to reset revenue, you have to reset expense. That makes sense. But don't forget, you still have to reset withdrawal account. Remember in chapter 1, if you are, you are the one-man company, okay, then all the partners, okay, the partner or the owner, they can get whatever things from the company. We call that withdrawal. Once you have withdrawal, what will happen? Once the owner, once the partner, they withdraw something, then what will be the effect when you do that? Withdrawal. Debbie? Withdrawal, do you remember what the withdrawal is? Lisa?
When owner
Yes.
withdraw money from the assets,
Then what will be the impact with your capital?
less
or,
money,
Hmm?
less cash.
Once you withdraw cash, then your capital will decrease.
No.
Okay. For example, not necessarily only related to cash. I gave the example before. Probably the company they just purchased 5 iPhone 13 Pro, whatever. Then, for example, that costs $50,000. Okay. For example, this company purchase communication or equipment. Okay, they purchase 5, each one costs 50,000. So the total value is 250,000 with cash. That's the transaction when they purchase the things. Then the owner or one of the partner, when they walk into the office, they found there are the updated 5 iPhone 13. I want one. Okay, if you are the accountant, will you let him take it away? It's a property of the company. Remember, we have some assumptions. Business entity, which means company book is company book. Then your individual, your owner is owner. Okay, but I cannot refuse you to, because you are the owner, I cannot refuse you to take anything away from the company. So I will say, okay, boss, you can take one back to your home. When he did that, then you are the accountant, what would you do? You will decrease because your property is only having the 4 iPhone 13, which is worth $50,000. So this is a debit. When you do the credit, the amount goes to $200,000 offset. Okay. Then where's here? What will you put here? You put the capital, like Lisa. Okay. Lisa is the owner. So this is the transaction entry you should do at that day. You should do it that day, which means this is the something take away. Okay. Actually, I should not take the capital. I should say I jump too fast. I was using withdrawal. This one. Okay, this one. So withdrawal. Remember the formula again. Assets equals liability plus the capital if the owner invests money, then minus if he or she withdraw some certain money, and add up if they have any revenue, and minus if there's any expense. So these two items, after we formulate here, so will become like A, assets, plus any withdrawal, plus any expense, then the rest of the items. So that means whenever you have to withdraw, it's on the left of the equation. So that's why the normal balance of the withdrawal should be go to debit. Okay, so that's why actually it's not really related to asset. It's not related to the liability. It will only reduce the amount of the capital. So that's why please remember, withdraw, even though it will impact with the equity here, but it still has to be reset to the next period. If for example, this month the partner or the owner withdraw $50,000, okay, then to the next month it has to be reset to 0. Then why you do that? Because we want to make sure the partner or the owner, they will keep on getting something from the company. So we will know the record for each period. OK， 业主提取，我说叫业主提取，业主提取会使你的资本，就是相关的业主或者合伙人的资本额减少，他的资本减少。但是呢，为什么他还是要每个月被关账？因为呢，你才会知道这个业主或是这个合伙人有没有乱搞。如果你 accumulating， 你就不知道他每个月实际拿进拿出的状况，你一定要把它结算掉，才会知道他每个月到底从公司拿掉多少钱。OK， 所以这个是请特别注意。OK， 所以呢，请注意 ，only 3 items categories account needs to be reset: revenue, expenses, and withdrawal. These 3 items need to be closed at the end of the period after you have made a financial statement. Okay， 在你做完编完财务报表的时候，你就要把它们全部关账。Okay, alright. So the process you need to identify accounts for closing. Which ones are qualified to close? Revenue, expenses, and withdrawal. Okay, then why you need to close the revenue and expenses? Because for the income statement, you need to have a fresh start for the next period. Okay， 收入也好，费用也好，到下一期间要重新开账，重新开账。OK， 所以这个就是你要确认。但是一个特别的事就是业主提取也要关账。OK，the first steps. OK，then how do you close? You need to everything for accounting purpose. You just need to have the entry. For example, for the daily transaction, 你每日的交易，你就 need to do the entry. Okay. For the end of period, you need to do the adjusting entry. Okay. Then you have to know the updated balance. No, and then the last stage, when you finish the financial statement, you're moving to the next period. You need to do the closing steps. Okay. That in order to do the closing, you also need entries. So we have entries, we have adjusting entry, we have closing entry. Okay, 3 kinds of entry. 你的分录有3种：平日的分录、调整分录和结账分录。Three types of entries. Okay, so number 2, help summarize. Okay, I think. Then the last one, you need to do the third timing post-closing TB. Remember, we have unadjusted TB, we have adjusted TB, and the third one is post-closing. What is post-closing? Post-closing means after you've done with the closing entry, then you need to get a TB again. So there are 3 timing to make the TB. 试算表有3个时候要做，一个就是你还没有做试算表前要做工作那个什么试算表，然后你做完了那个调整分录的时候又要做试算表，那你关账完之后要再做一次试算表。OK， 好，那我们来看一下 ，What are the items you need to close? Very easy to distinguish， 非常容易区别。As long as they are temporary purpose, they need to be closed. What do you mean temporary? Some textbook using the nominal account, some books using the temporary account. I prefer use the temporary account. Temporary means only the moment, using for the moment, okay? Only the temporary account, they only accumulated data for only one accounting period, okay? For example, if you are making the monthly report, then all the related only for 1 month, like income revenue or income statement expenses for that month, then you have to close that, okay? So they are temporary, used to record transaction or the event for only that specific time, and then close at the end of the period, okay? 是只管一个期间的交易的事项 they record. So all the income statement goes to these categories, okay? And besides, after that, okay, the others, or we call that permanent account or real account, okay, is related to one or more future accounting, okay? So all the assets or the liability or the equity account will not be closed because it need the purpose for them is showing for the financial status for the company, okay? 所以永久性科目就不能够关账啊，不能够关账。所以 we have a conclusion here, okay? The left one, revenue, expenses, and withdrawal, they need to close to an account using the income summary, okay? But I personally prefer to use the net income instead of income summary. Actually, the same thing. Okay, for your book, using the income summary, but they are the same thing of the net income. They are equal. So for your income statement, the final one is net income. So I try not to use income summary to confuse you. So later on you will know why I prefer to use net income. Okay. Anyway, they all, whatever the revenue, whatever the expenses, and including the withdrawal, they have to be closed. Okay. And the right one, assets, liability, owner's capital, they will not be closed. Okay. 麻烦再记一下哈，所有的暂时性科目，我们今天就讲到这边。所有暂时性的科目指的是损益表，只为了某一个特定期间存在的功能的表，好，收入费用就是，所以他们都要被结账到一个科目上去，叫做 income summary。但是我个人比较喜欢用 net income。你何必？因为他们一样东西，你何必把自己搞得更糊涂？因为 net income 不就是你损益表上的最后一个科目吗？收入减费用就是等于本期损益 net income。所以 later on 我会都用 net income 取代这个 income summary。OK。但是呢，还有一个东西要被结账的是 withdraw 业主提取，它是被结到 capital 上，它不是被结到 income summary。OK。那其他的资产负债表科目呢，就都不会关账。Then will you ask the question, what about the statement of changes in equity? 那权益变动表难道不要被结吗？那你刚才有没有注意到，权益变动表其实它的科目就是我们刚刚讲的损益表跟资产负债表。有没有注意到什么叫权益变动表？期初的资本额 the beginning balance add or deduct the net income。Then go to the end in the balance of the capital. 所以权益变动表 there's nothing, so the major two statement 在我们的财务报表里面，两个主要的报表 ，one is income statement, one is the balance sheet. Actually, the other two statement of changes in equity and the cash flow statement of cash, they are the same account with the income statement and the balance sheet. So that's why here, when you are saying the closing, it never will mention with the other two statement. OK， 为什么我们这样在讲临时科目哈、暂时性科目或者永久性科目，都只有讲损益表的收入和费用，只有讲资产负债表的资产负债和权益，因为另外那两个报表 它基本上的科目都来自于损益表和资产负债表，所以讲到关账的时候，跟那两个表完全不相关。So when you are saying the closing process, you will never be related to the statement of changes in equity or the statement of cash flow. Okay, it's not related. 所以关账不会关到那两个会计科目里面去，关账或者是等等只会跟损益表做相关联。Okay, only related to income statement. Okay, so then, okay, for the so for today practice course in the afternoon, I think we don't have too much to say about this part, the closing, because no practice, no exercise to do yet. So probably whoever you need to prepare for the next week's Chapter 3 exam, this afternoon I'll give you more exercise to practice for the multiple choice, doing the practice for this afternoon. Okay? All right. So I think that'll be the end for today. Then we definitely will finish Chapter 4 very fast for next week. So till the end of semester, we have to move to Chapter 5 for the final. Okay, that'll be all for today. Remember, this Thursday, for the 5 Indonesia students, you are required to come over, and also Bruno, because you are coming very late too, so you are also required for Thursday afternoon class. Then whoever 月龄啊，你们这些会计比较不懂的，礼拜四下午 for Chapter 3 is about the adjusting entry. Okay, why we need adjusting entry? Because several things. Okay, we could be it's not convenient to update every day information. It could be that sometimes information is not completed until the end of the period. So that's why the last day of the financial statement day, okay, we always need to, the first thing before we are making the financial statement, we need to do the adjusting entries. The purpose for adjusting entry is to upload the updated the balance of each account. Okay. So after that, we can make the financial statement. Okay. Then that's it. Actually, we have introduced the financial statement in Chapter 1 or a little bit on Chapter 2. Then you will know a financial statement. And in Chapter 4, we have to know the financial statement again. So why financial statement is so important? Because they are the final products of all the financial cycle. Okay, the final product is the financial statement. So you are the business major students. Even though you don't know how to do the entry that well, but that's acceptable. But there's no excuse. After you finish, you complete the whole academic year for accounting course, then you don't know how to read the financial statement. That's not acceptable. Okay? But the first thing is we should know the relationship, okay, of the 4 financial statements. Okay, actually we should move to the financial statement. We should do this part. Who still remember what the trial balance is? 试算表. Do you still remember from Chapter 2? We made trial balance. We call that TB, financial statement. In Chinese, we call 试算表. Okay, so actually, there are 3 timings you need to make the TB, trial balance. Okay, in Chapter 2, we call that unadjusted trial balance. That's the first time you are doing that. Okay, now it's the second time you are making the financial trial balance. So actually, trial balance just like a worksheet. Worksheet is a very large file. Maybe not most times just 1 page, but it's very big file. Excel format. Okay, so when you are actually they are all combined. The 3 timing, they were all combined in one page. Okay, so and then let's do a review about trial balance TB. Whoever you got no idea from chapter 2, then this is good timing to learn it again. Okay, then you can see that on the left column, the left column, then you will see several accounts. But we should know that all the account should have come with its own number, account number. For example, cash, the number is 101, okay? And accounts receivable is 106. You might question, what about 102, 103, 104, 105? Where are they? Okay, so it's kind of accounting system. Every company, based on their complicated transaction, they have their own list of all the account. But each time when you are making the trial balance, you are not necessary to list every from the 101 all the account into the TB. It depends on what you have. Okay, so here you have 101 through 167 with the capital number 1. That means they are all the assets item. Okay, then starting from 2, then you will feel, actually here is some mistakes I'll explain later. From 201, and actually I can see. Did you see here is a mistake I didn't correct here. From here, you will see 209, which is accumulated depreciation. Who still remember that? From the trials, adjusting account. Do you remember? Whenever we have the item like property, plant, and equipment, those are tangible fixed asset. Then in order to let value decrease gradually, you need to make adjusted for what? Depreciation. Still remember that one? Depreciation, whenever, for example, for each period, the value will drop like $10,000. Then the adjusting entry, you will write is depreciation expense, for example, some equipment. And that value is $10,000. Then you have a credit, accumulated depreciation expense, also $10,000. That's the one we were doing, periodically for certain PPE item, property, plant, equipment. So the expense will show on here. One of item 612 depreciation expense here, and the accumulated depreciation, even though it's put on credit side, but actually it's a contract against the original account. So on your assets area, if you have equipment here, if originally the value is $100,000, so every time you will depreciate $10,000. So here you will see accumulated depreciation with a minor signal. So it's a 10,000. So the carrying value is 90,000. What I want to say is, it's a contract against the original one. So that's why, even though it's on credit, it still goes to the items category of the assets. So the mistakes here is they put the wrong number 209, because starting from 2, supposedly it should go to the credit, liability, or equity. But since it's a contract account, so here the number should be 168. Later on you will see that I correct the number. I don't know what about your book. Okay, anyway, it should capital with the 1, because even it's a credit account, but it goes to assets. So be careful. So that's why accumulated depreciation, you will see it's adjusted. Later on you will see that on the credit column. Okay, So you will see assets, liability with 2, and equity with 3, and revenue with 4, and all expenses with 6. So that's the sequence you cannot violate. Okay, so this is for the trial balance purpose. So whenever we make sure have the recording from the entry, then you post to each account's balance. Then you draw the balance, put in the right spot and in the right place and with the right number. If you are writing all the process correctly, then you will see finally when you add up the total for all the debit and you add up all the numbers for credit, they are supposed to be equal. Okay, that's one of the purpose you are making TB. Okay, you make sure when you are doing no matter the transaction or you are doing the posting to the individual account or ledger, and the process all right. Okay, process all right. So that's why this is the first checkpoint. You make sure that before you are making adjusting entry, then so far you are correct. I mean, in terms of the calculation, in terms of the number, but no guarantee that you are using the right account. Why am I saying that? For example, we have accounts payable. Maybe the one making the entry, she's pretty new. So you see another account, notes payable. But in that case, you use the notes payable instead of the accounts payable. No one will find the mistakes. Why? Because they are all the credit item. And you put the right number. If you are checking from here, no one will find out mistakes. So TB is only the process about the correct of the balance or the number. Okay, for example, this one $6,200, but when you are making the entry, you have the invoice, but you write it 6,000. You debit 6,000, you credit 6,000. So all the process through here, they are still balanced. Then you cannot check those kind of the mistake. Okay, this is the second one. So which means TB trial balance only, just check that all process the balance equals, the debit or something like that. But more serious problem is not easy to find out. Okay, but what about you are making, for example here, supposedly then you are making this one, 1,000. You miss one number. This is a mistake you made, okay? 10,000, but mistakenly you use 1,000. So if you are doing this entry, then you posting to the account, then when you are checking on the TB, then it will be found. Okay, 像这种错误就可以发生。You put the number, not in the correct amount. But if you mistakenly using the account, then it's not easy to find out. 这样懂吗？所谓的试算表的目的，只是让你在你的过程中是做分录、做过账，然后你发觉说，你有数字上你输错或借贷你放错了，你可以发现从 TB 里面发现。但是如果你是那个用错了会计科目，比如说应该应付账款用应付票据，那看不出来，因为它都是贷方，懂吗？然后你如果借贷同时压错那副数字，你同时借贷错，在 TB 里面也找不出来。OK， 所以 TB 它其实只是一个 ，it's only a process, it's not guaranteed. Updatedly you are making the right things. Okay, just for reference. So this is the unadjusted. Remember the term unadjusted. Unadjusted. The timing to make unadjusted TB is you are doing that before the adjusting entry. 在还没有做那个调整的时候，你就做第一次 TB. Okay, this is a worksheet from left to the right. Okay. So moving on, we just made the illustration for the adjusting entry. So after you are making the adjusting entry, and after you're doing the posting, so for each one you have an updated process. So we have to move to the second timing, making the adjustments. But you will see, for example, here, they are not in the sequence. I mean, one or can be randomly different number with account number. So that's why we need to put on balances for the number. For example, normally we prefer to use the alphabet, not the number 1 or 2 or 3. But if you choose to use 1 or 2 or 3, that's okay. But most of the time, people prefer, I don't know why, use the alphabet number. So that's why you will see a pair. Adjusting entry is just like this. This is a pair. So for example, you can put the B or D, whatever. Then you should, whatever the place you put the B here, and you put B here. Okay, sorry. I'm just like a working lady to receive the phone call from my 3 daughters intern every day. So every day I spend a lot of time talking with my 3 daughters. It's a burden, but it's so sweet. So you should call. A going to prepaid insurance. Then you find another debit A for insurance expense. So you can easily know the A is insurance expense and the prepaid insurance with $100. So once you have the adjusting entry and you give the number, the signal, whatever, anyway, B, then you can drag from here. B is supplies credit and B is supplies expense. So that's a pair. So once you have that, you should find the right spot for the TB sequence, okay, which is the column, the row, the number of B is number 7. And another debit number is 23, and with the number 652. Okay, you find out the right spot for them, and then you put on the right number. Okay, that's for the middle column for the adjustment. The middle columns for the adjustment. Any questions? We are moving to a very important area. Okay, unadjusted, then adjustment, and then adjustment are coming from all the adjusting entries. Okay, then you move to the right spot and with the right number. Okay, so after that, one more thing. You have to confirm that all the debits here equals to all the right number here. Confirmation again. Okay, so every step we have confirmed the total debit equals total credits. Okay, so after this, then you move to the second timing for the TB. I just said you have to do the first time to do the TB is unadjusted before you are making the adjusting entry. So after you posting the adjusting entry, then this is the second time you are making the adjusted trial balance. See? Then how did you make the adjusted trial balance? Because you add up from the left number to the right number. Okay. For example, cash originally is debit 4350. But someone tell me, will it be possible you will see any transaction related to cash when you are making the adjusting entries? Will it be possible you see the number anytime in the future? Will it be possible you will see any number in cash account? Yes or no? Will it be possible later on another transaction for the adjusting area, the whole column adjustment, will it be possible you will see the number on cash? Kevin, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes. When? Can you give me an example? Let's say you think you will later on, within the adjustment column, then you will see maybe someday there's a transaction when you are making adjusting entry, it will be related to cash. Then if it's related to cash, then you will see the number in adjustment column. Say yes, please raise your hand. You say yes. Anyone yes? Anyone yes? Okay. Anyone no? You cannot answer. You have either one. Let's do it again. Let me repeat my question. Later on, if you are making adjusting entry, will you see this possibility? See the account with cash. If there's a adjusting entry, either debit or credit with the cash, then you have to put a number here in cash. 中文的意思是说，如果你日后在做调整分录的时候，有没有可能碰到跟会计相关的科目？如果有的话，它就会出现在我这个调整的这个栏位里面，不管是借或是贷。OK， 所以我现在问说，你说会的人举手 ，Yes， Yes， 每个人都要 answer，everyone has to answer yes。And the others, please raise your hand. No, no, no. No one answered. Then, what do you think? No one. You have to pick up one, either one. Yes or no? Yes. So you might see cash later. Let me give you a hint. For accounting, it's an accrual basis. We're not using cash basis. Okay. So if you are any transaction during the period, as long as they are cash, they will be recorded already. Why we need adjusting entry? Something happened, maybe payable, maybe receivable. Then you have to do the adjusting entry. Something you have receive a lump sum money, or you pay out a lump sum money. With the time, with the usage, you need to make adjustment. So did I say anything related to cash? No. But actually, I mentioned before when we were doing the adjusting entry. Adjusting entry, never, there's no possibility you will see any cash account. If it's cash, it's already solved during the, when it's happened. Okay. Why in the adjustment? Because definitely it's not no cash. We have to use our imagination or based on the facts, then you have to make the adjustment. OK， 所以调整分录请特别记住，调整分录是不会有任何现金科目的。No way there's a cash account within the adjustment. OK， so here then you should know that this is the first thing. OK， so after that. The left before, unadjusted cash balance is 4,350. Then move to left, add up 0. Then the adjusted TP balance is still the same, 4,350. But for the accounts receivable, for the unadjusted, there's nothing. Which means. During the time, most of the times you are, you having the deals, have the transaction using the cash basis. That means that before the end of the last day, there's no accounts receivable. But since here you made something, you started off something, then you send out the bill, then they are going to pay you, but not yet. In that case, during the adjustment, you will see accounts receivable. Okay. So see the pair here, F is accounts receivable. Another F is it's about what? Consulting revenue 1800. Okay, that's adjusting entry you made. Okay, so we have a debit, we have a credit, and it's a pair. Okay, so in that case, from the left to the middle to the right, okay, the ending balance is $1,800. Let's see, okay, the next one, 126, supplies. Supplies original amount is 9720, but during the time, people, use some part of the supplies. They deduct a number of 1050 in credit. So debit, add up some item with credit, which means it's minus. Okay, so the adjusted entry will be A670. Okay, so this is the second timing you are making the TV. We call that adjusted TV. You add it from the unadjusted with the adjustment and to the end. So far, any questions? 所以第二次要做试算表的，第一次做试算表是在你还没有做调整分录前，我们称之为未调整的试算表。然后呢，你因为有做了调整，在期末的时候，然后你就根据你的期末的调整分录，再把它放到正确的借贷位置和正确的数字。然后呢，左加右，那这第二次的 timing 做 TB 就叫做调整后，因为它是 t 的 adjusted 被动式。已经被调整的试算表 ，OK。So here is the one. Okay. So once you've done with the adjusted trial balance, then it's time to prepare your financial statements. Be careful, statements with is a plural number 复数, which means financial statements imply to at least one statement. 财务报表绝对不是只有一个报表，因为它是复数，所以它含了几个报表。我们 generally say financial statements, but actually it covers 4 statements. Okay, 4 statements. But you need to know the relationship with each other. 4 statements. This is very important. So, and another good thing is we can prepare financial statement directly from information in the adjusted trial balance. 所以意思就是说 all the information on your financial statement are based on adjusted TB. 所以我们在做财报表的时候，其实我们不是说我去 It's not that I'm making financial statement, so I grab a number directly from each account. We will not do that. Normally, it's a process. We should make the adjusted TB first. And based on the adjusted TB information, then you can move to financial statement. OK， 所以你一定是财务报表，一定是依据调整后的试算表来编的。注意啊，这个是调整后的试算表 ，based on adjusted TB. OK, there are several steps, but before we do that, we should know again, business students. Business person someday, you should, what are the 4 statements? It's very important. What are then what's the purpose for each one? Okay. The first one we are making, be careful, this is not just steps, this is the important sequence. 好，这个不是只是在讲我们编报表的财务报表的这个步骤，更重要的是它们的顺序不可以乱。No violation for the sequence. Okay, so the first one you are making is the income statement. Income statement. And for IFRS purpose, 好，国际财务报告准则 we call that statement of comprehensive income statement. Comprehensive. Okay, 那正式的报表 statement of income statement. Okay, this is for IFRS purpose. Okay, what's the difference between the income statement and the comprehensive income statement? Okay, here is I can let you know, otherwise you are getting confused. Why there are 2 terms? Actually, they are all talking about the same thing. So far, we learned if you are making income statement, you start from the revenue, then you deduct all the items for expenses. Then you get net income. Later on, I use this abbreviation instead of the whole long, the wording, NI. So this is the regular, traditional income statement. Of course, you have based on the net income, you have to pay tax. Then we are not going to that further. Okay. But what about the comprehensive income statement? Comprehensive, there are 4 items. For example, I invest some stock. I purchase some stock. I mean the company. They may, invest some stocks. 买一些股票. But those stock, they are the purpose for long term. Maybe I will keep the stock for at least 1 year. But at the end of December, it's almost to December 31. All stock on my hand, based on the requirement of IFRS, they should let the investor know you have any gain or you have any loss based on your investment on stock. Okay, 在国际会计准 the spirit for IFRS is you have to let all the financial statement users to know your current market value. Otherwise, for example, before we do the IFRS, I purchased a parcel of land 10 years ago. So based on the cost principle, on my book, it's still like $200,000 value. Actually, it's already being like $1 million. So actually, the market value, you should let people know. Okay, but actually the problem is I haven't decided to sell the land. I'm not selling the land. I don't know when I'm going to do that. But from 20,000 value to $1 million value, there are 800,000 value, the difference, even though I didn't sell out. So I have to disclose here. Besides the regular operation, I have to disclose here. Then people know I have a $800,000 gain, possible gain. Okay? 国际会计准则的精神是要让投资人，所有用报表的人知道它的目前的市场价值，这就是国际会计的特质。So actually, you should know the IFRS because you go. I think 80% of the country in the world they are adopting the IFRS principle. So here, whenever you learn a little bit, then you can, someday you go to other country, then you should know they are all following the same IFRS. Okay? So here is the place to disclose any difference between the assets and the market value, the original cost and the market value. So so if you are learning intermediate accounting later, future, then you have to learn these 4 parts. Okay, 4 requirements. So then, this is the real net income for this company. So the differences is, this is here is the daily or regularly IS. So the purpose for income statement, you need to know the performance. How good or how bad. During the time you make that much revenue, during the time you spend out that much expenses, then the performance is good or not. So when you are analyze the financial reports, you should know, for the the year 2021, almost the end, we have increased our net income for how many percentage? Or for the past 3 months, we have increased or decreased how much revenue, or we increase how much expenses. Then you should know the department or the company's performance. 这样知道吗？损益表的目的是在看你的营运表现， 你到底多赚了多少钱，少赚了多少钱，多花了多少费用，少赚了多少支出等等啊，你最后的表现是好还是不好？That's for the financial statement analysis 财务报表的分析。But for if you are really big company or actually in Taiwan, starting from year 2015, no matter you are a big firm, no matter you are only medium or small size corporation, we are all adopting IFRS. But even though you are a small company, you might have only 000 for the 4 items. That's okay, but you still have to disclose in order to make a complete, comprehensive income statement. But for internal purpose, maybe if you are only small or medium company, you may cross this, you only stop here. 你如果是中小型企业的话，你根本不会有这些什么汇率的差异呀、或者是什么投资下的差别，投资什么之类的。那我们只要做前面部分。Okay, so here is only for the current performance. Okay, why I say performance? The current period. For example, it's a monthly report. Then you have to disclose how much for this month's the revenue, how much for the expense for the the specific period. OK， 所以损益表注意啊，损益表只有 for specific period. Maybe weekly, maybe monthly, maybe semi-annually, maybe annually report for the specific period. Okay, the disclose whole information. Okay, so now since you are learning the principal accounting, so you only see the term, but it will not introduce what the difference between income statement and the comprehensive income statement. Okay, 因为在初会它还不会讲到综合损益表，好，综合损益表。但是每个人即使 even though later on you decide not to take the intermediate accounting, but it's acceptable, that's okay. Okay, then you still have to know what the comprehensive income statement means. Okay, this is the first statement you need to do. Okay, everyone, please know the first statement you are making is income statement. If you don't have the income statement, you will not move further and you cannot know how much you have for the balance sheet. Okay, all right, the second one, you prepare the statement of owner's equity using, I think it's statement of changes. Okay, I think it's making a wrong word. I think. Oopsie. Okay, I add up the words. Statement of changes in owner's equity. The changes. Still remember what owner's the equity means? In your balance sheet, you have you spend pretty much time on chapter 1, saying that assets equals liability and equity. So in your equity, it covers two major parts. One is the capital, one is your net income. Okay, so the changes of the owner's equity is because do you have any increase or decrease of your capital, or you have based on your income statement how much you add up or you deduct from. If you are making the profit, the net income should be added up to your equity. If you are making the net loss, then you will deduct the number from your equity. So that's why what's the changes making from the beginning balance of the equity to the end of the equity. So that's the second the statement。第二个报表你要做的是权益变动表 ，Statement of Changes in Owner's Equity， 中文翻作叫做权益变动表。好，这边有写怎么变动呢？一定从原来是什么到后来是什么 ，from the beginning to the end, that's the change. So you should know what are the changes. So that's the purpose for step 2. So once you have completed this statement, then you should know the updated number for equity. Then you can move to the third statement. We call that balance sheet. Balance. Okay, either one, both sides of balance. Balance sheet. Okay, balance sheet is the 资产负债表, but actually the formal name in IFRS is financial statement of financial position. Actually, most of the country they are not using balance sheet anymore, and I don't know why in Taiwan. Actually, if you go to the official website for the 3 statement, only the third one they are still using the balance sheet in Chinese or English, but the others they are already updated to the IFRS, even though we are IFRS countries. 在台湾很奇怪哈，即便是我们2015年已经全面采用国际会计准则，但是如果你去官方网站，我们台湾的官方网站哈，你会发现奇怪，他们的那个损益表资产负债表还是叫资产负债表，它没有变成国际会计准则下的那个什么财务position 财务状况表所以不太清楚为什么。Okay, anyway.Number 3, balance sheet. You can either use balance sheet or statement of financial position, the status of all the assets, liability, and equity. So finally, the last one for statement is cash flow. It has to verify that on your balance sheet, the cash amount is right or not. Okay, let's see the sequence, then we're done with the one. Okay, again.Based on your adjusted TB, 根据你的调整后试算表 we have the column number here. But did you see? It's all based on the number. The sequence, assets, liability, equity, revenue, and expenses. So, in that sequence, if you want to make the income statement or balance sheet,They are very easy. Why? You can see here, starting from the revenue, the whole account goes to income statement. So that's why people say when you are preparing the financial statement, you can draft number based on your adjusted TP. That clear? Okay, so the right one, see how you are making this the 3 lines of the title. First line is your company's name, and the second one is your financial statement name, and the third line important. Okay, for the months ended December 31, 2011, if you see that for the months, what does that mean? Actually, this income statement implies to starting from December 1st to December 31.Only for that month, because I just mentioned the income statement is used, is only for specific period. 所以你可以从这个报表的第3行字叙述说，这个报表是月报表，而且表示是指12月的 for the month， 所以就知道它是一个月的表现。So it's not related any number is not related to November, October, September. Okay, 因为它是 specific for December. Okay, 所以它不会 If I say for the year ended December 31, then the statement implies to January 1st to December 31. So the keywords is 40 months, and that's only for periodic amount. Okay, so we have total number. So be careful the revenue. Still again. Okay. The first column showing the number, you have to put a dollar sign. The first column, you have to put a dollar sign. And during the others, we don't put anything. Even for the subtotal, no dollar sign. But for the ending two double line, that's the total number. You should add up the dollar sign. This is small thing you have to remember. So grab the information from your adjusted trial balance. You can complete your income statement. Okay, so net income number is 3785. Be careful this number. 3785, because this number has to be linked to the next statement. Okay, the first one is income statement. Okay, let's take a break, then we'll move to the second one. You have to make, and what is the second one you have to make? Okay, so some students just ask why for the income statement they don't see anything here. Okay, let me say it again. The adjusted trial balance is the complete information for the period. Okay, but it's not necessary, for the purpose here is only for two statements. Okay, the first one is the operation performance, which means you have make how much you have made money and how much you have spent and what's the net result. Okay, so we only grab the information, see the green area, starting from revenue, end of the last expense. So we grab all the information here to make the income statement. Okay, so that's why it's the income statement. It's not related to any asset, equity, or liability. Okay, so we just save the numbers temporary here, and we use the information here. Okay, 你的调整后试算表是一个在期间里面所有你可能用到的报表的会计科目和数字，但依据你现在要编什么表，你就从这个调整后试算表里面拿什么样的资讯 ？OK， 那你的第一个报表是要编损益表，所以你当然找收入跟费用相关的科目出来，这样 OK。The second one, we're going to statement of changes. Watch out the word changes in equity. So here is I just asked you. You have to remember how much you made for net income, which is 3785. So the right one is about statement of changes in equity for the months ended December 1st. Same words like the income statement. So you will know this statement is only related to December only related to December, since it's a change. So you need to have the beginning balance for the whole equity. Okay, so we have in the beginning, this company just set up, just established. So that's why the capital before anybody invest money is the zero. Okay, so be careful again. See the zero is also come with the dollar sign. So this is another skill you have to pay attention. Even it's a zero balance, but the zero has its meaning. Okay, 有它的意义 because you have to tell people we just set up the company with a zero balance. So even it's a zero, you still have put on the dollar sign. Okay, then you might add up something, you might less something. So that's why we call exchange. Okay, so here for the add item, because the owner normally I would prefer the investment money put on the first line, then net income. Okay, so let's switch, because you should have the capital first, then you can run the business. Okay, you cannot, there's no investment, then you can start running the business. That looks like sounds weird. Okay, so we add up the investment by owner, $30,000, and during the period the company made a profit of 3785. So that's the second item for add. Okay, so here is a column for the dollar sign. Then we have a subtotal line and add up to the total to the right. So it's 33750. That's the total subtotal for add items. Okay. Then during the period, because we have already made several entries during within the months. So we have a resort by the owner for, it doesn't matter when, okay, you have to disclose the facts, okay? So withdrawal number is $200. So that's why made the last date, December 31, the capital number to 33585. Okay, so that's from the beginning to the end. The beginning to the end. Okay, so we call that changes in equity. Changes in equity. Okay, now that's the second two. Then we are going to another very important, the one we call that balance sheet. Balance sheet. So from the right one is the one you just had, the changes final number. Okay, so remember we just ask why we didn't use the the information from the upper part of the adjusted trial balance. Now is the time you need to grab the number information from here. So for the number 3, we have assets, several items, including the accumulated depreciation. Watch here, including the accumulated depreciation, which make the value, carrying value for equipment is 25,625. Okay, so we have the total number for assets, and then we have liability, then we have the final number for equity, 33585. This number is coming from the number 2 statement. Okay, the ending number, the balance of the equity. So moving from 33585 to here, and you have to know here, be careful, it's another concept here. For the equity, for the liability, you have a single line. For liability, you only have a single line. Then you have a subtotal. For equity, you have a single line for the equity total. So you have single line. Because based on our equation, assets should be equal to liability with the equity. So that's why you should add up the liability with the equity, goes to the real total final number should come with a 2 double line. Okay, so also the dollar sign. So you will see the assets equals to equity plus liability plus equity. 这样知道吗？所以你在做资产负债表的时候 ，you can do both way, both are right. You can do assets, liability, and equity. This format, okay. Or you can go from the top to the end. But for our in Taiwan, the official website, they using the from top to the end. 两者都对，左边放资产，右上 the upper right for the liability, the upper, the lower lower right for put on the equity. 左边放资产，上面放负债，下面放这个。那你也可以从上到下。啊，台湾的官方网站好，大部分因为放那个for the the view purpose. Okay, so we'll put from up to the down, and like this one. So, but you should know finally still assets equals liability plus the equity. So this is the balance sheet, or for IFRS. Is called statement of financial position. This is another name for balance sheet. Both are right. I personally prefer this name because balance sheet it's only a formula, but for financial statement. It's all getting closer to what they really want, because I want to ask how much so far this company has the asset. If I want to decide to invest this company, what the status of their liability? Okay, then how much they make, I can see from the equity. It's more close to financial position. Okay, so I prefer this better than balance sheet. Okay, so but another term, please be careful. Did you notice that? The third line for the title is different from the other statements. For income statement, for the statement of changes in equity, we use the subline 40 months ended December 31. 40 months, or for the year, for the week, then you know that specific period. But for balance sheet, you only see the date, or some statement they use as of. Okay, as of means till the end. Okay, which means the fourth statement, only the balance sheet, the concept is accumulated. So if you have run this company for 100 years, so you see the cash 4350 that's been accumulated for 100 years. If you have run in this company for just 1 month, then cash 4350 is only accumulated to this number. So only the statement showing your financial position, no matter how long this company, this corporation has been, established. Okay, this is the only one. Okay, all right. So we always say that balance sheet is a static statement. Static. 这是一个静态表，所有的表格里面，4个表格里面，就资产负债表是静态的，它就是到那个时候。可是呢，其他表我们叫做动态的，它会变，一直变。但是资产负债表是一个长期累积的数字，所以它不管你经营多久，它就是总共累积我有多少资产，它的最新的状况的数字。Okay, so this is a very important concept for balance sheet. Okay, then it's also related with the statement of changes in equity. If you don't have the statement of changes in equity, you don't know your ending balance for your equity. Okay, in this area. So we pull the number from 33585 to the 1. Okay. Then the fourth one we call that statement. But this chapter, since statement of cash flow is really complicated, but however, it's a very important statement of cash flow. And actually, this statement can be an individual chapter, so that's why it will not demonstrate here. 另外一个现金流量表，第4个 ，the fourth one is statement of cash flow， 叫现金流量表，因为它很复杂，要花一整章节才讲。我们 normally the textbook will save this chapter to very end. Okay, so most of the school they will show the student this chapter save to intermediate accounting. But whenever you got an accountant job, and normally you are required to make the statement of cash flow. Okay, it's not a big deal, but it's a little bit complicated. Okay, so that's why we, for the chapter here, very early stage, we are not introduced how to do that. Okay, anyway, so there's no demonstration here for us. But anyway, what's the statement of cash flow purpose? Because it's showing on, for example, December, for the beginning, the end of the November, 最后一天, or the beginning of December, the first day. Actually, for example, the cash is $2,000. Then we have to analyze during the period how much cash, only cash spent out, how much cash received in, and then finally, after we do the add deduct number process, the final number is 4350. We want to verify the cash account balance in your balance sheet. Okay. 做现金流量表的目的是要告诉你分析说你在期初的时候的余额，再加上你这段期间加减的情形，到最后的余额是不是4350 ？Okay, that's the purpose. Why you need to analyze the cash status? Because people will probably it's very important for the investor. 好，对投资者很重要。Why? Because you need to know the really activity for cash. Probably their cash is really very low. Why they low? Because they spend huge money to buy a very valuable land. Okay, it has a very good potential for the future. So even though you spend money, then it's still worth it to do that. But if you only see the balance sheet, you don't know what happened with the cash. Okay? So sometimes it's good to spend our money, sometimes it's good for receive huge money. 我们一般的 general concept, you should have as much as you can to keep the cash. 大部分人都认为说你应该有很多的现金啊，但事实上现金太多并不是一件好事。For business run, you have to keep a reasonable level for cash. Okay, so that's why for a really has an investment concept, they should know the leverage for liability is good. 好，负债的杠杆是很重要。I give you the example for myself before. I would rather to borrow the money from the bank to invest the house in the United States, even though for the the past 6 or 7 years, every month I spend lots of money to pay off the mortgage, but the interest is low. Even I borrow the money, I have the debt, but for the past 6 months, the value for that house has been increased at least 50%. Okay, that's the purpose for my investment. I owe the money, but actually later on when I decide to sell the house, I make much more money. And also during the time, I can rent out part of my house and I receive the rent monthly. Okay, so the monthly rent already cover the interest I spent. OK， 所以有的时候杠杆原理，我在美国把那房子拿去2个房间去租，那个钱足够付我台湾的利息。然后在这段期间里面，那个房子的 value 增加了50%以上。OK， 还是 keep on saving that。OK， 那虽然我的 loading in Taiwan is so heavy， 我每个月要付 so much mortgage 的 expense，but that's worth it。OK， so that's why to analyze the cash, the detail is important. How much money you receive or you disperse the dividend. For example, later on, the company will issue the stock from the market, get money. Okay, then they have to pay the dividend. So it's all about related to cash. 这家公司可能以后卖股票，就是股票市场，然后他要发股利，这些都是现金股利。这个时候到底钱怎么来，怎么去的？ So very important for the statement of cash flow. Okay, then you should know the real, the reality for this company. Okay, so we have a finance activity or we have a operating activity. There's also a investment activity, 3 areas for the cash. Okay, so this